Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Miss Coffee here, and today we are doing a whip and chat. Whip stands for work in progress, so get out whatever that is for you. Work along with me as I tell you some stories from the coffee house shenanigans. Now I will be drawing today. The app that I'm using is Procreate, which is only available in the App Store for Apple. I tried finding it for Android. They do not have it for Android. It's only on Apple. It's about $10 for it's not a subscription, but it's $10 for the app. And essentially it's a drawing app, and you can download all kinds of stuff for it. Either way, I'm drawing an adorable little red fox, and so right now I'm going to show you a time lapse of how I got to this point, just so you know. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. So this is how I got to this point with this poor little fox. I say poor little fox just because, like, I've been working on him for a few hours. I wanted to at least get the sketch layer down, and because I had to re-record this video because I kept getting interrupted, it looks like I'm a little bit further than I want it to be, which is I got the black outline done, and I'm starting the coloring process now, and then we'll adjust as we need to go. So there you have it, and that's where we're at now. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to give him some stripes for his tail, and then we're going to color in those stripes. So I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It was a wonderful weekend here at the coffee house. Now, me and Mr. Coffee on Friday night sat down and had a little heart-to-heart. We haven't had a heart-to-heart conversation in a while. And when you're in a relationship with somebody, you want to make sure you're open and honest about everything, and that you have these little heart-to-hearts every once in a while, just so you can see where your partner's at mentally. And I could tell there was something else with Mr. Coffee. He's been feeling super stressed out lately, and I didn't know why. I realized it's apparently because of school. He wants to quit school, and I'm like, yeah, no. See, the way my life is set up, you're not quitting school. Now, the reason why I won't let him quit school is because when he first started school, his big fear was that he would quit. So I told him I would not let him quit. So now he wants to quit, and I'm like, nope, that's not happening. So he's been a little stressed out about that. So we talked, which is. If you were in live on Friday, that was the reason why I was a little late, is because I was talking to Mr. Coffee about him and wanting to quit school, and I'm like, nay, that's not going to happen today. I hate to tell you, but yeah, no, that's not happening. So we came up with the conclusion that he doesn't want to stop school completely. He wants to take a break. And I was like, taking a break is one thing, but you're not quitting school. Like, that's not happening. So I'm guessing he's supposed to be taking a break. The problem is he was still doing homework and stuff last night, so I don't know. Maybe he changed his mind or what have you, because he's supposed to graduate this year, which is the reason why I don't want him to quit. It's not like I'm just over here like, no, you can't quit. I won't allow it. No. He graduates this year. He only has a couple more classes left, and I don't want him to throw that away because he's tired. And I'm like, then go to bed at a good time. Y'all, we have not been to bed at a good time. Okay, what do you consider a normal bedtime? For me and Mr. Coffee, it's anywhere between 3 and 4, knowing god dang on well we got to get up at 7. I'm, like, even currently right now, we went to bed last night at 2, and I'm exhausted. I'm actually legitimately exhausted. But you got to push through here on these crafty streets. So I'm pushing through. But I am super tired. And I'm like, every night I'm like, let's go to bed. Okay. He doesn't want to go to bed, but we'll sit there and fall asleep on the couch. And throughout the week, I won't let him sleep on the couch if he falls asleep. Now, if it was a Friday or a Saturday, oh yeah, wherever you fall asleep is where you staying for the night. Shoot, I'd be letting Maggie sleep on the floor in her room. We finally decided to move Maggie's bed around. Maggie is 9 years old, okay? She'll be 10 this year. And because of her epilepsy, she's always had a bar on her bed to keep her from falling out of bed. So Maggie doesn't know how to properly sleep in a bed. So we decided that it's time for her to learn how to properly sleep in a bed. And what do I mean by properly sleep in a bed? Let me explain. So properly sleep in a bed meaning she doesn't fall out every time she's laying down. Like, she can lay down in the bed and go to sleep without falling out on the floor. So far, not so good. And I'm scared that she's going to fall out and break a bone or something. Just knock on wood that she doesn't. But because she's so small, the fall isn't that far, but it's still is going to hurt her. So I'm really, really wanting to get her into learning how to sleep in this bed properly, because she be sleeping in this bed, and it's a day bed. So essentially what it is, it's a bunk bed that we never put together. So Orion has one bed, she has the other bed, and then on Maggie's bed there are two rails. Like there's a headboard and a footboard, and then there's a rail a rail on the back of it to keep her from falling out. And so all we did was spin the bed around, because we had it up against the wall, so no matter which way she went, she wouldn't fall. Well, now that she's getting a little bit older, it's time to learn how to sleep in a bed. You're 9 years old. And anytime we try to put her in the bed beforehand, she would fall out, which is the reason why we just kind of put the rail back on, or like we just turned the bed back around, because we're like, we don't want her to hurt herself, so we just turned the bed back around. Well, we decided to do this again because now this is 2 years after the last time we tried doing this. So we're hoping that everything goes well. The first few nights, she fell out of bed, and now it's not even an everyday thing. Now it's kind of like an every couple of days thing. And so what we started doing is putting stuffed animals. Now Maggie has an abundance of stuffed animals, okay? And right now, those stuffed animals are being used to cushion her fall if she falls asleep on the floor, or if she falls out of the bed. It's to cushion her fall so she doesn't like fall like straight onto the floor. And so I go in there the other day, and I can't find her. She's not in bed. She's not in the bathroom, because of course she has a bathroom in her room, and she would go hide in there. She wasn't in her bathroom or anything, so I was like, well, hun, did you see Maggie? So we went up looking for her, couldn't find her for a good couple of minutes, and then she made a noise from underneath the bed. Here, she fell out of the bed, fell on the stuffed animals, and then rolled underneath the bed, and I'm like, it's Minna all over again. It's Minna all over again. I'm pretty sure if you've been here for a while, you've heard the story of Minna. If not, recap. When Minna was about 5 or 6, she decided to fall asleep in her toy box. Her toy box was filled with stuffed animals and baby dolls. And all you can see of Minna was her face sticking out of this tub of baby dolls. And we ended up we called the cops and everything because we couldn't find Minna. And then come to find out, she had just fallen asleep in the toy box in her bedroom. So yeah, Maggie likes to do that to me too, where she won't hide, but like the other night where she fell out of bed and then rolled up underneath the bed, and I couldn't find her because she was so far underneath the bed. Even coming up the stairs, I couldn't see her from, and I usually can see pretty good underneath her bed. I couldn't even see her from coming down or up and down the stairs. So I was like, well, we finally find her, and she's like, Mommy, what's wrong? I'm like, little girl, you are trying to give me a heart attack right now. Why are you not in bed? And she's like, I was in bed. Where am I now? I'm like, you're on the floor, under the bed, like legit under the bed. And she's like, oh, I'm so tired, Mommy. I don't care. Let me stay here. Can I sleep underneath my bed? And I'm thinking, the way my brain is set up, right? It gives me all the worst case scenarios. And all I can think of was her bed magically coming loose from its bolts and falling onto her. So I was like, no, we're not going to do that. So trying to get Maggie to understand that we need her to learn how to sleep in this bed like a normal person, because I don't want her to be 15 still sleeping in a bed with a rail on it. She's trying to sleep in the bed, but when you're asleep, you don't know that you're falling out of the bed. And when she does, we end up having to go, like, you hear the big thump, and then at this point we just go upstairs and put her back in bed. But we still need to make her the appointment to have the EEG done. I think it's EEG. It's one of the EEG things, to scan her brain to make sure that, which I'm surprised the doctor hasn't called me about that yet, because it's been a while since we went to Montana, and I still haven't called. Well, I tried to call, but don't you hate when you call the doctor's office for something and they put you on hold for the next 20 years? That's what ended up happening. And then the one day I was on the phone for like an hour, and I had stayed online for so long, I'm like, I can't stay on the line anymore. Like, I got to go. Like, I have to go pick up the kids. So I ended up leaving the house to go pick up the kids because I'm like, I don't have time to sit on hold for an hour. So it's not like I haven't tried calling the doctor. There's just, apparently they've been really busy. So we're going to change colors here. And we're just going to color drop. And this is going to be like a little red panda. We are currently in the middle of Sprinter right now. If you don't know what sprinter is a mixture of spring and winter. More so winter and spring. So what ends up happening is, I tell you guys all the time, I live in North Dakota. Here, it stays winter for about 8 months out of the year. And when I say stays winter, I mean stays winter. And then his little body is going to be that same orangey color. Let's try that again. Except for we're going to hold it and then go this way. Did I not outline? Oh. Well, that should have been outlined. Anyways, we're just going to color drop that. And then we'll just take and put the color underneath the black lines. Boom. There we go. Look at that. Real easy. So yeah. We're going to get this color, but we're going to do a little bit darker. Like this brown color. Oh. And I'm going to use a reference. So I'm going to go over here to reference. I'm going to zoom in on this little picture right here because this is the little picture that I'm using. And it looks like his arms are a little bit browner too. So we're going to use that same color for his leggies. Oh, nope. Yeah, we're on the color layer. So yeah, so we're teaching Maggie to sleep in a normal bed, which has been going okay, I guess. She hasn't broken anything, so that's a plus. But we decided this weekend that we were going to do some fun stuff with the kids. It was getting to be a little bit warmer out, which I'll go back to the weather here in a few minutes. It's getting to be a little bit warmer out, and we wanted to monopolize on the time by taking the kids out to go do stuff, get them out of the house, you know, just primarily get them out of the house. Because, again, I don't want people up here thinking that I'm murdering my children because they don't ever see them. Most people see Maggie, but they don't see Orion, so... try to fill that in as much as possible. So yeah, so I was like, let's get everybody out of the house. We could all use the day out of the house. And Mr. Coffee's like, without electronics, I'm constantly on my phone because between YouTube and Cincy, I'm hella busy nowadays. So I'm constantly on my phone. So we decided to make it an electronic free day, where no matter where we went, you had to leave your cell phone in the car. And Mr. Coffee, of course, had to carry his on him just because if his job calls, he can't be like, oh, sorry, I didn't answer. I was eating dinner with my family. So we made sure that he had his phone on. All right, so we have the little brown R's, and then we got to do his ears. First, let's color this part in. So what we ended up deciding to do is go over to the trampoline park first, because that's one of the things that the kids have been asking about. Now, I don't know about anybody else or how everybody else does it, because again, no type of parenting is wrong unless you're hurting your children. But I'm a big person. I'm big on not doing things with my kids when they're small, just primarily because they're not going to remember. They're not going to remember. Like, you took little Billy to Disneyland when he was 4. Does he remember? No. Then what was the point? Like, I kind of feel like I want you to remember the stuff to make it worth the while of buying the tickets and such. So it's like, okay, we got that one. And then we're going to draw some lines in his little ears. We're going to go a little bit darker than that one, which I'm going to just go here. Get the little line here. Bloop. Bloop. And we're going to do the same thing over here. And then we're going to get that same brown color, drop it into the ear here. All right, hold on a second. Sorry, I needed to get up and stretch a little bit. So, we decided, okay, to go to the trampoline park. This is where the whole day goes awry, and this is Saturday, okay? So, we get up, everybody eats breakfast, and I'm like, you know, what do you guys want to do today? And, of course, they were like, trampoline park, because we had told them that we were thinking about taking them. So, I was like, all right, let's go out to the trampoline park. Now, to get into the trampoline park was like $300, okay? And at first, I was like, $300? Them crack prices. Like, why you got to pay so much money to have fun with your kids? Jesus, no wonder nobody wants to have fun with these goddamn kids. And then I realized we weren't just paying for trampolines. Like, they weren't going to be able to just jump. They did have bumper cars and virtual reality helmets. It was really cool. It's like a big arcade. And of course, Mr. Coffee's in heaven because he's just looking around at all the stuff and he's just like, whoa, why have we never been here before? And I'm like, dude, because it's expensive as hell. $300? But I can't say much because that's essentially 4 people going for $300. Stay caffeinated, folks. So, we get to the trampoline park. And the kids look at us and go, come jump with us, mommy and daddy. And the only thing I can think of is, one, if you've had children vaginally, right? I'm already having problems with coughing and sneezing really hard. Don't laugh too hard either. Now you want me to jump? I'm like, I can't. And Orion's like, well, why can't you come jump with us, Mom? I'm like, because the way my life is set up, my organs will fall out of my body. He's like, hold up. What? And I was like, my organs will fall out of my body if you make me jump. And he goes, Dad, is that true? And he goes, sure, whatever she says, that's true. And my big thing is, I don't want to essentially create Niagara Falls at the trampoline park and embarrass myself. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be jumping. And Mr. Coffee's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to jump and hurt myself. So, yeah, I'm not jumping. Like, all I could think of was, like, I go to jump and then I just pee everywhere. Because my bladder's weak because I've had children. You probably pushing 3 children out of you vaginally and not having some problems with leakage, okay? So I was just like, yeah, no, the way my life is set up, no. Well, they finally convinced me to do it. And this is why I say every time I play with my kids, I get hurt. Here I am, living my best life. I'm jumping. I'm having a good time. I'm doing flips. I did a cartwheel. I was all proud of myself. I'm like, look at my old ass go. Okay? Y'all, where this little kid came from, I don't know. But he came in like a freaking torpedo. I went to go jump. And for some reason, when I jump, one of my legs comes up and the other one stays down. Okay? I gotta go jump. And this little kid, like a torpedo, is just like, pew! Hit me right in my leg to the point where I did a split and you just heard a, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell was that? Now, of course, the people that run the place were like, hey, you can't be in here cursing. One, hell is a place, not a curse word, sir. And he's like, what? I was like, don't even worry about it. My leg, help, ow, hurts, ow. Mr. Coffee looks, he goes, why does it look like that? Essentially, my leg was dangling, okay? It was dangling from my side. Apparently, it was dislocated, which I didn't even know you could dislocate your leg. And so they had a paramedic on site because, of course, when you have trampolines and small children, whatever it is about small children when they jump together that makes them a magnet, yeah, that happens a lot. So they have a paramedic on site. So the paramedic comes over, he's looking, he goes, it's not completely out of socket, but it's loose. Essentially, where the joint was, it was pulled out, but not all the way. So what he had to do is they picked me up and carried me away so people wouldn't see them working on me. And he essentially just pushed really hard on my leg to get it to go back into place. Okay? That's a pop I hope to never hear in my entire life ever again. I'm pretty sure everybody in that place heard me screaming at the top of my lungs because it was extremely painful. And he goes, you should be good to go now. So I get up, I go to start walking around, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it doesn't feel bad. It sucked though. It sucked really bad. But don't worry, now I'm fine. It did hurt for a couple of days where I was limping there, but today I feel like I'm pretty much getting myself back to normal, which is great. And then we decide, you know, I'm like, I'm gonna sit the rest of this out. Okay, y'all go do what y'all want to do. I'm sitting this out because I'm not about to sit here and keep hurting myself to have fun. Okay, I'm like, I will sit down and play cards with y'all all the time. Cards are safe. That's my safe thing. Jumping at a trampoline park? No. The way my life is set up? No. Let me sit my old ass down somewhere. I shouldn't have been jumping in the first place. I should have just trusted myself when I said my old ass didn't need to be jumping on no goddamn trampoline. Well, then the kids decided they were going to do VR. They went and did VR. Maggie ran into a wall twice, the exact same wall. Orion, of course, he's a pro at it because he plays VR all the time in his room. And Mr. Coffee's like, well, I want to play. Well, then go play. Y'all would have thought Mr. Coffee was one of the kids. He was playing so much with those goddamn toys and stuff. And we had stayed there probably a good 2 or 3 hours. Now take it, I'm sitting there with an ice pack on my hip. It doesn't hurt to sit, but to move my leg in any direction was what was bothering me. And they told me I was probably going to be stiff for a couple of days and that I should go home and relax. And I'm like, yeah, you tell my tiny humans that I need to go home, okay? Yeah, that's not happening. So I was like, I'm just going to sit and watch. I'm not going to get on anything or whatever, because anything after that would make them liable, because they knew I was hurt. And then if I got hurt again and they allowed me to do so, they're liable. So they were just like, you know, maybe, okay, if you're going to stay, you should probably sit everything else out. And I was like, all right. So I got to watch the kids play with bumper cars, which I found out that Orion's going to be a great driver. He's going to take after his dad, because he's trying to play bumper cars as if he's actually driving, and he's not wanting to hit the wall. He's not wanting to hit his sister. Meanwhile, Maggie is like Mad Max over here. She's hitting everything. Other small children, people's parents. Like, I literally almost had to go get her because I thought she was going to run over this one lady. She did hit her in the leg, but luckily she stopped in time to not, like, completely just go over this woman. So that was fun. And then after we finished at the trampoline park, because, again, we were there for like 3 or 4 hours. When we finished there, Mr. Coffee's like, what should we do now? And I'm like, well, let's go see if we can catch the movie. Now, we wanted to go watch Sonic the Hedgehog 2. What layer? Okay, that's that layer. What's this layer? Okay. So we're going to go on that layer. That layer's empty. So we wanted to go see Sonic 2 with the kids. The problem is we hadn't seen Sonic 1. And the way my life is set up, please tell me I'm not the only one that does this. I can't watch a movie, especially if it's a sequel. I can't watch them out of order. Like, that's not a thing. Like, I'm not watching them out of order. But I had agreed to do so, not realizing that there was a first one, okay? So I was like, okay, let's go to the theater. First, we had to come home and let the dogs out, because we had been gone for like a few hours. And I was like, let's let the dogs out first before we go gallivanting wherever. He goes, fine. And right now I'm just adding the little white parts to his face and ears. So we're just going to add this little white spot. We're going to round that off like that. And then we're just going to color drop that color into there. Look how cute his little ears are. Now, what I can also do, we're going to select both those layers. We're going to liquefy. We're just, oh, I got to select that layer too. Now we're going to liquefy. There we go. Just going to do it like that. The ears look a little bit better now. Sorry, Killian Jones apparently was having a drink over there. He gets kind of loud. Hi, Killian. We're going to go back to this layer. We're going to color this part in. And then the ear. Is the ear on a different level? Is it on this one? Oh, okay, so it's this part here that went underneath the line. There we go. We're just going to color that back in. And we're going to zoom in real tight here because I can't figure out where this is. So we're going to figure it out together, I guess. So here we go. We can, oh, nope, don't want to take the black line away. So we're going to try to get rid of some of that. Too big. Here we go. I have to talk to myself so I know what I'm doing. There we go. And then we're going to take this. I'm going to go to the outline. And we're just going to round it off a little bit. And then we're going to come here and color this spot in. There we go. Look how cute he is. He's so cute. All right, sorry about that. I have to stretch my back because sitting at the nook, there's no backrest to this chair. So like my back gets tired and I'm kind of like not sitting with the best posture right now. So if you see a bunch of like, looks like stops and starts, it's not me cutting things out. It's me trying to stand up and stretch my back, which you should be doing if you're crafting for long periods of time, because it helps you, it helps to not have your back all jacked up. So we're going to liquefy this again because the face is a little chubby on this side. And when it comes to drawing, I like using references, but I like to also I like to go off the beaded path, essentially, and kind of do my own thing. So I might make the shape of his face a little bit different. So we got that. Gonna fix that tail. There we go. So turn that off now. So we got his little leggies and his hands, and we're gonna put those little things back in his ear. I'm gonna use this layer. So anyways, we come home, we let the dogs out, and then we decide to head over to the movie theater. Now I'm in a mood because I've never seen the first part of this movie, so I'm like, I'm not gonna know what the hell's going on. Well, we get to the movie theater, we get up to the ticket booth, and already we see the thing in the back behind the lady that says sold out. And I'm like, which movie is sold out? And she goes, Sonic. And I'm like, yes! But I can't say that because everybody else was excited to go. Now, my kids are small, okay? So they've never been to a movie theater. One, because when we lived in Pennsylvania, again, we were broke. We didn't have movie theater money. So we never got a chance to take them to the theater because we were broke. But now that we're a little bit more financially stable, I'm not going to say we're rich or anything, but we don't want for anything, which is nice. But we never took them to the movies because we couldn't afford it. So now we're just like, okay, let's take them to the movies and see how they do. And of course, I wanted to take them to the trampoline park to run out their energy so that by the time it came time to sit still for a movie, I don't know about your kids, but my kids get ants in the pants. And I'm not about to sit in a movie and tell them to stop moving around for the next 3 hours. So I was like, yeah, no, let's go to the trampoline park first, get that out of the way, get them nice and tired, and then we can go see a movie. Now, we had brought headphones and stuff for Maggie and sunglasses because bright lights do give her headaches and loud noises do the same, which I don't understand because Maggie is super loud all the time and she's constantly flashing herself in the face with some kind of light. So I'm like, okay, whatever. We get there, it's sold out, the kids are bummed out, Mr. Coffee's bummed out, and I'm like, why don't we make it a movie night at home? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we have that giant TV, we never watch anything on it. Like, our TV in our living room literally is for video games. That's it. We never watch anything on that TV. The last time we watched a movie all together, we watched it back here. Now take it. The living room has the big screen TV. My back room has like this 32-inch TV tacked up to the wall. And I'm like, why don't we go home, get it on the big screen, get dinner, because everybody was complaining that they were hungry. I'm like, we can get dinner, take it home, and watch it on the big screen and make it a movie night at home. That way, when everything is done, we don't have to go anywhere. Or put on pants. Yay! So we decided to do that. So we went over to KFC, we got some chicken, we came home, and we watched Sonic 1. Because I wanted to see if the kids would even like it. Because I don't even know if the kids even like Sonic. I didn't realize, one, that Orion knew what Sonic was. And Maggie, she's like, I like Knuckles. And I'm like, how do you know who Knuckles is? I like Knuckles. Okay. All right. So we go get our KFC. But before we go home, I was like, well, we got to get snacks. Because if this is going to be like a movie, we have to get snacks. And the kids were like, yeah, we got to go get snacks. So we go over to Walmart. And one of Maggie and Mr. Coffee's favorite snacks is pistachios. I like pistachios, but apparently not as much as these two do. So we're getting snacks. We're getting like everything from Twizzlers to Sour Patch Kids and all that other stuff in between, right? And I'm sitting there and Mr. Coffee's like, you know, can we get some pistachios? And Maggie's like, SpaghettiOs? And I'm like, what? No, I'm like, honey, we got chicken. She goes, no, the SpaghettiOs. And I'm like, what? She goes, wasabi? I'm like, wasabi, what? Like, she's saying everything but she's saying everything but pistachio, okay? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, wasabi? She's like, the wasabi are really good. And I'm like, wasabi? And she points up to the bag and she goes, the wasabi. I'm like, Maggie, that says pistachio, Jesus. Maggie has gotten a lot better with her reading, but there are certain words that if they're really big, she will just make up a word, and that's what that thing is to her. And so we have to correct her so she knows the correct word. Let's see where we at with this fox real quick. So I need to essentially run this layer here. Sorry, I will be stopping to kind of talk to myself so I kind of know what I'm doing. We're going to zoom into his little face. So we're going to arch it here. And bring it around. Let's go this way. Let's try that again. Not making it wide enough. I might have to start adding music to my whipping chats just so that the dead silence that happens sometimes isn't so obvious or silent. Where is that at? Is that up here? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we're gonna erase that part. And we're gonna go back over here. I'm just gonna shape it out a little bit more. So yeah, but we get the snacks and we go up to the register, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like digging through my book bag trying to find my wallet so I can pay for everything. And Mr. Coffee's like, did you need me to pay for the stuff? And I'm like, no, I have my wallet. Now, me and Mr. Coffee always play the who can get to their wallet first. And so I won, of course. And he's sitting there. And the lady goes, looks like somebody's going to have some good snacks. And she goes, oh, yeah, Daddy's nuts are really good. They're a little salty, but they're really good. And the lady just drops the pistachios, looks at Maggie like, what the flip? I'm like, Maggie! Mr. Coffee is like 50 shades of red right now. He is embarrassed. And he's like, oh, my God, Maggie, please don't ever say that again. And she's like, why, Daddy? I like your nuts. They taste good. She didn't want to try to say pistachio again, so she just said nuts because we told her that they're like peanuts, but they're a different type of nut. And so she said, Daddy's nuts are good because usually Mr. Coffee buys them. I don't buy them. Mr. Coffee buys them. So Daddy's nuts are good, and they're a little salty, but they're good. And I'm like, I don't think I stopped laughing for a good 25 minutes. I was dead. I was like, your daughter just told a cashier that your nuts are good. And he's sitting there, he's like, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know about all that. I'd have to ask my expert. And I was like, your expert? Oh, I'm like, you dirty son of a... So, yeah, like, oh, that's why. Okay, we're going to go back to the color we had. All right, so it looks like he has a teardrop going this way on his eye. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to color drop. Bloop. Bloop. Now this one looks like it could be a little bit bigger. There we go. And then it looks like it has these. It almost looks like it's crying. So we're just going to do this. So yeah, so we get our snacks and we go home. And Mr. Coffee hooks up the movie to the big screen because it's on an app on his phone. And so he had to get it from his phone and project it to the TV, which is fine because it doesn't like mess it up or anything, and the quality still seems pretty good. So we ended up having an indoor family night, essentially where we watched Sonic. The kids absolutely loved it, which is great because now they're excited to go see the second one. The problem is we're not sure we're going to be able to go see the second one. So if you missed my post on Instagram, currently right now, we are in the midst of a blizzard. We have a blizzard coming that's supposed to be dumping 2 feet of snow on us. And so everybody essentially is bunkering down, buying up all the bread, milk, and cheese, and eggs, and all the other fun stuff. And, all right, so for the most part, we have... Okay, we're on this layer. I wish I wouldn't have put that tongue on this layer, because then moving this wouldn't have been so whatever. But we're going to move this around, make it a little bit more out there, a little chubby. There we go. And we're going to scooch this over just a little. Nope, don't scoot that over. So we're just going to scooch this stuff over. There we go. And so, yeah, so it was a nice weekend with the family. I even got to do some Scentsy samples. We had some new wax come out, and I got to do samples this weekend. I was able to make the samples, label the samples, put the samples in their proper envelope, get the labels, put the labels on and everything, all in one day. The last time I did samples, it ended up taking me like 3 days to do them. This time it only took me 1, thank goodness. So, there's that. Then also on Friday, we get a call from our landlord, and she's like, or the leasing lady from my townhouse. She was letting us know that the water company wants to come in and check our meters. Now, I don't know why they needed to do this, because they literally just did this like back in November. Like the day that I found out that I had to have my hysterectomy is the day that they came out last time to check my meter, because they claimed that the water meters here that were coming in were essentially mixed up, and they didn't have the right, like they weren't reading correctly. Well, they went down, replaced mine, made sure to write the number down, and then they said that it should be fine. Well, then we get a message from our leasing lady letting us know that they needed to come into the house on Monday to check the meter again. And I'm like, why? And the last time this happened, our bill went up by $10. And I'm like, that's not really a big whatever, but okay. Well, then come to find out, they need to come back again to check the meter again. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, because they need to make sure that everything is correct with it. And I'm like, well, what wouldn't be correct with it? They changed it the last time they were here, so I'm not, I wasn't trying to be combative. I was trying to figure out what was going on, because I was told that they wouldn't have to do this again, and here they are needing to come back into my house. Now, she was like, if you can't be there, I can, with your permission, I can go in there. And I'm like, you don't have my permission to come in my house. Look, listen, the way my life is set up, no. I don't trust anybody in my house, especially when I'm not here. So, no, that wasn't happening. So I'm like, no. I will make time. Well, Mr. Coffee decides that, he's like, I don't like the way this sounds. I'm going to come and sit with you while they're there. And I'm like, all right. I'm glad he did, because it was a weird old guy, and he's like staring at me, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. They came in yesterday, and we had to get everything out of the way. Now, where they needed to go is right where the ferret cage is. So we had to move the ferret cage to the back room, get all their toys and stuff and move back here, block this area off, because the ferrets were in the craft room. We had to block this area off, and then clean up all the stuff like Mr. Coffee's game system and the table that's over there. Had to clean all that off so that they can get down into the little hole. There's like a Harry Potter, that's what I call the Harry Potter hole, right behind Mr. Coffee's TV, and it's 2 doors that open up and go underneath the house. And that's where our water meter is. And so they came in, the guy goes down, he tries to go down, he's like bending over into the hole to try to figure out where exactly the water meter is. And when he did that, apparently he fell down the hole. And so everybody just runs over to the hole where he's at and like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, these houses weren't built the best, were they? So then I have to, on top of having them have to come check the meter, we then had to have somebody come repair that little step that he broke when he fell into the hole. We have to have that little stair replaced, which of course takes forever and a day. And I'm like, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. But the good thing is, all right, hold on a second. All right, I had to go refill my coffee. I was out of coffee. I was like, I'm getting tired again. I need some more coffee. But if you missed my Instagram post, right now, currently, we are bunkering down. We are getting ready for a blizzard. We're supposed to be getting dumped on, which I think I already said this, but if I haven't, or you weren't paying attention, we're supposed to be getting at least 2 feet of snow, if not more. The worst of it is supposed to come tomorrow. And I was freaking out because when Mr. Coffee tells me this, and I'm like, a blizzard? The last time I was in a blizzard was the year that I moved to Pennsylvania. It was literally within our first week of moving there, because I want to say we moved in December that year. We moved to in December that year, and it had gotten so bad that we lived in one of those apartment places where you had to go through a door, and then there's like four apartments you can go into. Like there's 2 downstairs and then there's 2 upstairs, but you have to go through that initial door first to get to those apartments. Well, it snowed so bad that we were jumping out the lady upstairs' window just to get out to shovel the snow from in front of the door because nobody could get out. It wasn't fun then as a kid. I was never a child that would go and play in the snow. That just wasn't my jive. Like I did not like being cold. And a lot of the places that we lived didn't necessarily get winter. Not at least with snow. The one place I remember getting a lot of snow was Kansas. We lived in Topeka, Kansas when my parents were in the military. And they got a decent amount of snow. But, all right, we're going to release that layer. No, there we go. Because I want to make his leg a little chubbier. So, we're just going to move this out a little bit. And then his little arm can stay the same. We're just going to straighten it up a little bit. There we go. We're going to make it tail a little bit up. Nope, don't move the butt. Don't move the butt. We're going to make his tail a little bit puffier here. Has that Cheshire cat tail. We're just going to kind of push this out to make his tail. We're going to get rid of this reference because I think we're done with it now. Just need to get the basic shape. So anyways, so yeah, I've been in a blizzard before, but I was freaking out because I'm like, they're going to expect these kids to still go to school because they don't do snow days here. So I'm like, you know, great, I got to drive in the snow. If nothing else I hate about North Dakota is driving in the snow. People here drive very carefully in the snow, which is great, but I personally do not like driving in the snow. Like, is anybody else with me? I know some people are okay with driving in the snow, and I can drive through it, obviously, because I've done it before. I don't necessarily want to. If I can avoid it like the plague, I would. So here I am, and Mr. Coffee tells me this, and I'm freaking out a little bit, because I'm like, you know, a blizzard, what are we going to do? We need to bunker down. We need to get, there's the water people again. Oh, hold on. I think they're coming to my door. All right. Sorry about that, guys. The distractions today are ridiculous. Anyways, I don't like how lumpy his tail looks now. We're just going to put it back. We're just going to put that back. But maybe... There we go. I like that a little bit better. It kind of looks like his butt is up against the wall. And then what I can do is, we're going to take the sketch layer off. We don't need that. And then we're going to move him so it looks like he is up against the wall. But because it's not straight, we're going to just move it to make it look like it's straight. And then we're going to move it back so it looks like he's literally up against the wall. Just going to size him to the size of the paper. Looks like he's in a box. It's really cool what you can do with this app. So anyways, but yes, we're getting ready for a blizzard. So I had to make sure that we had enough food for the next, we usually do about 2 weeks. So we made sure we had food for the next 2 weeks and everything. Mr. Coffee went out to the store and made sure we had enough of everything that we could possibly need and or think of. Vape juice, milk, bread, eggs, sugar, salt, pepper, all that fun stuff. Because more than likely what's going to end up happening is, luckily, the kids, today is their last day of school for the week. So they don't have to go back to school again until Monday. And by then, the snow will either be gone or melting or whatever. But if it gets really bad, like they're projecting it to be, we will not, or Mr. Coffee will not have to go into work. So more than likely, we're going to be stuck in the house for at least the rest of the week altogether, which for me is fine, because that means we don't have to leave the house. Everybody can just sit and watch TV, and we have already had a plan. Orion apparently has really gotten into Harry Potter, which is great, because again, I do like Harry Potter. I'm not a big, nut over it, but I do like Harry Potter. But Orion's becoming like a nut over it. And so he would like to watch Harry Potter. And I'm like, hold up, you want to watch Harry Potter? Okay, bet. So we've decided, we have popcorn, we still have candy and snacks and stuff. We decided that the next couple of days, we are going to watch all the Harry Potters together. And I've been waiting for him to get to this point where he wants to see movies. And he'd actually rather play with movies, or he'd rather watch movies than play video games. And he's been spending a lot more time downstairs with us playing games and everything else. And I want to say it was probably D. Eldridge, or one of my subscribers, one of the supporters of the channel, sent me a game, which is like a kitty cat tic-tac-toe. And it's in like this wood board and has like kitty cats and paw prints. And I was like, oh my God, that would be so cute. Well, I finally got it. And so I figured we can play games. We're going to watch movies. And I was like, all I need from you guys is about an hour or two a day where I can record my videos and do my Cincy postings. And then you guys can do whatever it is you guys want. We can watch movies at night. So tonight, we're going to have tacos and watch Encanto, because Mr. Coffee has never seen Encanto. And he gets tired of us singing, we don't talk about Bruno to him all the time. And he's like, why haven't you showed me this movie? Why haven't you sat down and watched it? Now, I got rid of my Disney Plus there for a couple of, probably like a month, because I was like, $80? I don't want to pay $80 for Disney Plus. I didn't think anybody was watching it. And then Minna messages me like right after I do it. And she's like, Mom, Disney Plus, what did you do? I'm like, what do you mean, what did I do? And she's like, what did you do? Why can't I watch Disney Plus? And I'm like, one, you're a teenager. I didn't realize you were watching Disney Plus. I'm not saying that teenagers can't, but if you have a teenager, yeah, teenagers don't typically watch TV because they're too busy, like, having a life. So I was like, I didn't realize you were watching it. So I got Disney Plus back. So I was like, we're going to watch all the shows. And me and Mr. Coffee were watching the series Loki. I love Loki. He's my favorite. I know he's supposed to be a bad guy, but look, listen, I love him. So I'm like, we are going to make the best out of a bad situation, which is my new motto nowadays. It's just make the best out of a bad situation. Actually, what I'm going to do, because I don't think I have much longer left, I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to find the harmony, which means it'll tell me the color that goes best with it. And it's going to be this color here, which is the same color I did for the last background I did. And we're going to pick this color. And it's in my history now. Just do that, just so it stays there. And look how cute he is on his little background. This line here, though, is a little thick. But, yeah, so this is essentially me practicing, like, little animals and stuff like that. Just because I want to grow and expand on what I can and can't draw. So, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Again, if you're someone who lives in New York and have been affected by whatever's happening there, I wish you the best and hope that you're okay. That really freaked me out just now because, again, Mr. Coffee doesn't call me during the day. And when he came home yesterday, I was just like, what are you doing here? And he's like, did you forget I was coming to sit with you while the guys checked the water thing? And I'm like, oh. And don't worry. The guy that fell down the hole, he was fine. His pride was a little hurt, but he was fine. I just thought it was funny because when he fell, like, one of his boots didn't go with him. So it's like hanging off the corner of the little hole in the wall. And so we usually keep that door taped up, though, because there's a really bad breeze that comes up through that doorway. And we tape it up because the ferret's cage sits right next to it. But they did the meter and everything just fine. And they realized that apparently they didn't have... My meter was reading correctly. Because I'm like, I don't know what y'all think I'm over here doing. I'm like, it's funny because I've never seen them check anybody else's water before like this. Except for mine. And I'm like, you want to talk about water? Literally, I watched my neighbor wash her car for 4 hours the other day. And I'm like, It's not warm enough to do that. Like, she's in a winter jacket washing her car with a power washer, okay? And I'm like, you want to check somebody's water? Check theirs. Because I can tell you right now, if they're paying any less than $2 million a month, it's not enough. It's not enough. Because these people use water like they live in an aquarium. Like, oh my God. And that's just what I see outside, okay? They're constantly power washing their house. Then they're power washing the sidewalk. Then they're power washing their cars every weekend. Then they're playing with the kids in the water. Then they have their little play tub pool out and have their kids in it. I'm like, whoa, y'all doing the most right now. It's not even warm enough for all that. So, yeah, I'm over the whole, like, them coming to check stuff because I feel like it's a trap of some sort. Like, I'm really paranoid when it comes to stuff like that. So we're going to choose this layer. And we're going to try. And if you would like to see the finish of this piece, I do post it over on my art page just to keep it separate from my diamond painting stuff. But there you have it. I'm just going to liquefy. If you can't tell, liquefy is my favorite thing in the planet. Like, okay, now his head looks a little bit better. The one side of his head looked a little too small. So we're going to liquefy. We're going to bring this down just a little bit. All right, there we go. So, with that said, I'm done for the day. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. Please bear with me as I get used to drawing and chatting. I know there's a lot of dead silence and everything, but I'm still trying to get used to this. And I try to practice whenever I'm not on camera, but that's different because that's just me talking to myself and the awkward pauses don't seem so awkward. So please bear with me as I try to get this right. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day and continue to do so. But with that said, I got to get out of here now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Any other questions, comments, concerns, leave those down in the comment section below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more random crazy crafts or art, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I decide to put up a video, because believe me, it's random. But with that said, I must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you that it's hard out here in these crafty streets. Please remember to stay safe, stay caffeinated, stay crafty, and always try to remember to be kind to others, be courteous, and be cool. Bye, guys!